Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located here in the United States, in the state of Oregon. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate that. We had a lovely day here. I hope that you did as well. The weather was just about perfect for temperature, in my opinion anyway. So let's go ahead and see who we have on. And let's see if it's going to come across here. And then it can get there. Otherwise, I'll have to go find the other way. There we go. Okay. Mute that so you don't get any echoes. All right. So I just want to quickly remind you again of the virtual album retreat, which will be July 16th through the 18th. And in order to participate in that 3-day event, which goes from 2 to 10:30 p.m. Mountain Time each of the 3 days, all you need to do is purchase the month-by-month album retreat kit. You'll find that in the kit collection section in my online store, and the number is 167338. And then here is the contents of the kit. So a little sneaky peek of that. You will be, if you purchase the kit and participate in the retreat, which it will be recorded, so if you can't go on those 3 days, no worries. You'll have a recording available to you. You will create 12 two-page layouts, or 24 pages total. Everything is cut and prepped for you. So whether you're a scrapbooker now, you're looking into getting into scrapbook, you were a scrapbooker and you want to get back started, that might be for you. And then also through the end of this month, we have a buy one, get one 50% off of all sweets and sweet products. As a reminder, when you're shopping, be sure to group like items together on separate orders so that you can make the most of the discount. In other words, if you're going to purchase bundles, make sure that you get a buy one, get one half off bundle. So let's say you want Coneflower Celebrations and you want the Gallery Bloom stamp and die set. Order those two and then close out your order. And likewise, if you were doing a suite, you would want to order 2 of the suites, close out your order, and then order your other things separately in order to take advantage for the best discount. You will not be penalized within your shipping because shipping is 11% for anything over $72.50 in any case. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, Jennifer. I see you on. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate that. Okay, so our first project tonight is a card, and we're going to be using the Coneflower Celebrations for that. In addition to Coneflower Celebrations, which came out in the brand new Stampin' Up! Catalog released last month, we're also going to be using the fancy border dies, and specifically this die here. And then we're going to be using the textured notes dies. These are part of a suite collection, so you could pick these up in that buy one, get one half off sale. And we're going to be using the largest of the textured notes dies. I've pre-cut those to save us some time, as I usually do. We're going to be doing a bit of a fancy fold, a fun fold. All right, so this is our color palette. Doesn't work very good when you have the new stamp sets with, or the new stamp pads with the old. So we've got Early Espresso, Darling Duckling, Mossy Meadow, Pecan Pie, Crumb Cake, and Cloud Cover. My Cloud Cover ink pad is the Craft Stampin' pad, which comes uninked, and then I added the ink with a refill. Before I did that, however, I did wash the foam pad with soap and water and then rinse it out very well and dried it. You could also get an uninked Stampin' Spot and ink it with your cloud cover ink as well. Two ways to get around the pad, or you can, I don't know, purchase a third-party uninked pad that's not a foam pad and see how it works, because the chemical reaction between the foam pad and the ink itself is the problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I did was I took a piece of scrap white. This is not basic white. This is a thinner white that I have on hand. You can use whatever you have, and it doesn't have to be white. The color does not matter. And then I took the fancy border die, this one here, which seems to be stuck with that one there, this one, and I laid that down on a piece of white, and then I just die cut it. Okay, and I only needed it to be as wide as my card, which is 4 1/4. Okay, so we've got that. We're going to use that as a stencil. Okay, then I cut out of basic white 2 of the large textured notes borders. You don't necessarily need to, but I did not. I wanted my back side to be as pretty as my front, so I cut 2. All right, so then we've got some just scrap basic white here, and we're going to do some stamping on that. And then you'll need a panel for your inside. My panels for my inside are 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And I have that inside panel. I like it no matter what color I use my card base for. However, you're going to need it because it's an early espresso card base, unless you use a lighter card base because you can't see the writing. Okay, so on this scrap piece of paper, which is 2 1/4 inches wide, 2 1/4, I'm going to take and ink up my large coneflower from the Coneflower Celebrations stamp set. And I'm going to stamp that down. Hi, Lynette. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Laura. Thanks for joining. Okay, so we've got that. I got that a little low. We're gonna make that work. So I think, let's see. Where is my sample card? We gotta get that so I can see what I'm supposed to be doing here. Okay, so we've got this, and then we need a little more scrap white. Doesn't have to be anything big or fancy. This is the basic white. And we're going to bring in our leaf stamps and Mossy Meadow. I'm going to stamp this one first. And this one second. Okay, so that's what we need for that. All right, while we're stamping, let's go ahead and, no, we need to ink blend first. Okay, so we're going to put this away. We're going to do a little bit of ink blending, and for that we need our cloud cover ink. So let's take one of our the largest textured notes pieces here, and this measures about 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 when it's cut. So just start on a quarter sheet of cardstock. That's what I did, and then I cut that out of there. We're going to take a blending brush and our cloud cover ink. We're going to ink that up. We're going to bring in our stencil that we made with the fancy borders die. And I'm going to put some sky up here. And I really do want that to be real light. And then I'm just going to change the direction of that a bit. Okay. We'll move that again. If you don't have the fancy borders and you have the bright skies dies, you could use those. Or if the bright skies dies that are on the last chance list, once I looked last, they were still there, and I actually was going to use them, but I put that stamp and die set away and I couldn't find it, and I didn't want to look too hard, so I pulled out the fancy borders. But the bright dies are a good value in the last chance list, so you might want to check that out. Okay, let's go ahead and go down here just a tiny bit more. Too much more. I'm going to make this one pretty light. There we go. All right. So that gives me a nice sky background. And then I can set that aside. And we're going to bring in crumb cake because we do need some ground down here. So let's get our crumb cake ink. This stamp, this dotty stamp, is from the Coneflower Celebrations set. And I'm just going to ink that up in crumb cake. And it kind of is designed to move together, but then I'm going to turn it because I don't want this to look quite so uniform. I want it to look like ground. So we're going to turn it, move it. Okay, so here's my ground. And then from this, let's move those out of the way. Now we're going to take and stamp our stem on here, but we need to get these things cut out and colored so that we know where to put our stem. Okay, so our leaves, let's set this aside. For our leaves, we're using Old Olive. And remember, I stamped those in Mossy Meadow. So I'm just going to take my dark Old Olive, and I'm going to to go from the skinny end here. And I'm just going to throw in some dark old olive, kind of along the artist lines, not necessarily all of them. And then I'm going to bring my light old olive and I'm going to fill that in, going right over the top of the dark so that everything blends together nicely. Okay, so we're just going to fill that in. These color together, these color very quickly. Okay, and then we'll cut those out with the coordinating dies, and we'll have that. And that for our leaves. Okay, so we've got those. Now let's take our coneflower. Okay. And we're going to get Flirty Flamingo. And you guys, my Flirty Flamingo, I should have grabbed a new one and I didn't. So I'm going to start with my dark Flirty Flamingo. And I'm just going to flick some color in here along the artist lines. Don't need to be precise at all. Just flick some in. Okay. And then I'm going to go back here where the petals overlap and add a little bit of the dark Flirty Flamingo. Again, I don't need to be precise, so long as I stay in my lines. Nobody's going to criticize your coloring. Okay, so I've got all that. Now here's where my Flirty Flamingo doesn't want to work. I needed to get a new light one out, and I didn't. So I apologize for that. I don't think I have one handy that I can just grab. So my brush tip is drier than my bullet tip, so let's try that. You can tell when it squeaks like that your marker is really running dry, unless you're pressing super hard, and I am not pressing super hard. I'm hoping that this is going to last as long as I need it to finish this. I'm hoping that there's, no, I don't see one in that particular bag up there for my extras, so I really would have to dig out. Yeah, just don't know. I think I have another set, but I'm not 100% positive. So we're going to struggle with this. I should have changed this color. Sorry about that. Because I could easily have changed the color. Okay, but it looks like we made it. Okay, sweet. Thank you, Flirty Flamingo, for holding out. Okay, so now we've got dark pecan pie. And I'm going to take my dark pecan pie. And I'm going to flick some color down from the top so that it goes in the directions of the little flower seeds. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to take my light pecan pie and overlap that and fill it in. Okay. So there's my cone flower ready. Now I need to die cut this because unfortunately I didn't die cut it ahead of time. So I'm going to show you how that works. Actually, I might not. Yeah, let's just do it. I'm not 100% sure that I die cut mine because I was a little bit too lazy to get up. So I think I just fussy cut mine. So we're going to take, this is the die that cuts out this. So you just need to line up the one that has the little, you want your little petal on the left and the larger petal on the right, because that's going to match up. And then we're just going to put this down here. Put this on some washi tape or some tape. And then I'm going to run this to the die cut machine. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what I have. And now when I take this out, I've got this. Okay. And I have just a tiny bit of the fold from that. So I'm going to take my scissors, and there's a very clear fold line here. And I'm just going to go underneath that fold line and cut that off. Okay, so now our flower's ready. Okay, now we need to, the last things that we need to stamp are our stem. We've got a butterfly and the sentiment. Okay, so we've got a piece of basic white again for the butterfly, and we're going to get the early espresso ink. Which I've buried. I'm going to stamp that up in early espresso. And our sentiment is celebrating you. And I've taken from the mini messages dies. And I'm going to find the little, I need the bigger one from there. I've got just a bunch of the little ones cut from the mini messages. So this one will work right here. It's 3/16 by about 1 3/4 inches. We're going to bring in our silicone mat. And celebrating you. And again, the early espresso ink. And I'm putting this on the silicone mat so that I get a nice coordinating background. So I'm not doing white on white. And then I'm just going to center this on here. And there is my sentiment. Okay. So let's go ahead and set that aside to dry. And let's bring in this piece here. And the stem from the cone celebration. And we're just going to stamp this down here. Now, of course, you could lean this coneflower any way you wanted, and this stem is designed to be used in either direction. I'm using mine like this, so I'm going to ink this up in Mossy Meadow ink. I'm going to put this down here in the corner, like so. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my dark old olive, and I'm just going to put in some color there. And then I'm going to take my light old olive and blend and fill in the rest of that. Okay. So now we have our stem. All right. Now, let's go ahead and color our butterfly quickly. Well, I'll just show you what I did. I took pecan pie for his body. Okay. So this is what I have. I've already die cut him and colored him. Pecan pie for the body. And we have light and dark darling duckling, and all I did with this was I just flicked on some dark, made sure that I put some dark up here in the second set of wings, and then filled it in with the light. Only takes a couple of seconds, no biggie. Okay, and then like I said, pecan pie on his body. Now to finish this off, we're going to take the early espresso ink, and I'm going to take that spotted dye again. Where did I set that spotted dye? Right here in front of my face. Okay. Now I used crumb cake, so that's a lighter color, so I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to take and ink that up with some early espresso. And I'm going to stamp that on top of my butterfly just to give it a little bit of character. And there is a die for him, so he's die cut. Now we have all of our pieces here. So let's go ahead and start putting our card together. Okay, so you might be wondering why we have this piece. I'm going to show you in a minute. Let's start with this piece is going to go on this card base, and our card base is early espresso, and this is a 5.5 by 5.5 inch square. Okay, and then I folded it, or I scored it and folded it at 4 1/4, or if you don't like that measurement, it'd be 1 1/4. Okay, so 5.5 by 5.5, score it at 4 1/4, and then you've got this front flap. Okay, now we're going to take and add this. Oh, hello, Cynthia. I'm glad you got your new tablet figured out. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this. Now we need to note that we don't have much room over here to put our adhesive. So we're going to put it on the back. And when I flip this, it's going to be on the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put a couple of strips of my Stampin' Seal, and that will be plenty to hold it. And then I'm going to bring this back in, center it up. Okay, just like that. Give it a press. Make sure I don't have any adhesive back here because well, actually it won't matter if you have adhesive back here because you're going to take this piece here because I did not like this. Now, if that doesn't bother you and you don't want to do this extra step, then by all means don't. But I'm going to take and glue this right here like this. This will give me an extra spot to write if I need it, but it also covers up all of that extra that I don't want to see. And then I'm just going to take and lay this on here. Make sure those sides are all even. And actually, liquid glue is probably better for this because you have a little bit of sliding time. I'm just going to line that up like that. And then give that a press. And now I have a pretty inside. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and put this on. We're going to add our coneflower. And of course, you knew we're going to do that with dimensionals, right? So let's put these on. Okay. Let's take this, we're going to put it down a bit, like so. You already got your stem there, so you can go as low or as high as you want, but I want to put a butterfly up here, and I need room for that, so I'm going to go, as long as I don't show the top of my stem, I can go as low as I wish. So I'm going to put mine about right there, and then I can put a Stampin' Dimensional. Actually, I'm going to use a mini because I want those wigs to be able to stand up a bit. So I'm going to put one here and one here. And then we're going to stand this up like that, but I'm going to put just a tiny bit of liquid glue on his body here. And then we'll shift this like this, making sure that I don't go off the top of my card. Give that a press. Now we have our leaves left. Okay. So I wanted my leaves, I actually hand cut my leaves. I did not die cut these because I did not want the white border along this side, because I want to be able to put a Stampin' Dimensional at the top, put some glue at the bottom here, and shimmy that up right on the stem so it looks like it really is part of that stem. And if I had the white in there, it would not look that way. So, you see what I mean? No white means that looks like one cohesive unit, yet I still get the lift that I'm looking for. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other leaf. This time a mini because this one's a little bit more narrow. And again, I'm going to lay that right on the edge of that stem so it really does look like it's growing out of there. Okay. And then the last thing we need to do is grab our cloud cover ink. You know what? I didn't put any gems on this thing. Huh. We're going to take some cloud cover ink and a sponge dauber. And I'm just going to ink the edges, the very edges, keeping my sponge dauber parallel to my die cut. And that just makes it look like it has a little bit of a layer when it really doesn't. Okay, so again, this is going to get mini dimensionals. I'm going to lay this over there, so I'm going to take a look at that before I put my mini dimensionals on the back. Take those off. And then just going to lay this down like so. Get that straightened up. And there you have it. Well, wait, I might have went, yeah, I did. I got that dimensional too far. Hang on. Let me lift that up and move it over just, you know what? It'll be easier to move the Stampin' Dimensional, I think. Pull that Stampin' Dimensional. Get a new one. Move it over just a titch. And then we'll be good. Okay. Let's straighten that out. I'm going to curl the end of that just a bit. Curl the end of this one just a bit. And there we have it. Okay, so for the inside of this card, I took a sentiment. I love that I've known you for so many birthdays. That also is in the Coneflower. Stamped my butterfly. And then I also did the same treatment here. Now I want to show you something with the butterfly on how I colored that. So give me just 1 second here. We'll get this in here. All right. So let's take this scrap piece of paper here. Stamp our little butterfly. And I actually stamped off when I did him, but I'm not going to do that right here because it's okay. Then we're going to take our leaf. We're taking the larger of the 2 leaves, not this skinny crooked one, right? We're taking this one here. Take my stamp off my block, turn it over, okay? Then I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper. Oh, use this. This is what I used. Go like this. Stick a couple of those little hoops in there. Get your Darling Duckling ink. Here on the inside you would want to stamp off for sure. I already put that away, so stamp off. Line those up. And stamp the body of your butterfly. And now it's colored. Thanks, guys. I think that would be great in any color. Yeah, Tracy, I think it would be beautiful. And you could, actually, it would be really cool to make a whole set of these in different colors and put them in a box as a gift with the different sentiments. There's a thank you, there's a celebrating you, there's belated birthday. You could make a whole gift box. Okay, and the envelope looks like this, and I actually sponged, used my ink blending brushes to color my envelope. Okay, so there's our first project card. I hope you enjoyed that. Our second one is a kind of 3D-ish project. We should put some gems on there, you guys. What do you think? What do you think? Ooh, we could use the in color flat pearls. Sure we could. We could put some little yellow dots. Let's do that. Shall we? Because we kind of need some, I think. Let's do 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Those are the 25 to 27 in color flat pearls. These flat pearls are my favorite gems right now. I love the shine and I love how flat they are. Okay, so let's move to project number 2. And we don't have a lot of supplies for this one. We're going to use Early Espresso and Daffodil Delight. Okay. We need a piece of basic white, and this is 2 1/4 inches. So again, we're going to stamp our coneflower. Okay. So let's, wow, you'd think I could easily find the large stone coneflower. I put it way far away. Okay, so we're going to stamp this. All right. So we stamp this. Should probably stamp the whole thing. All right, so we're going to get this stamped. Make sure you can die cut it. So get it up there far enough. Okay, and then, so when you die cut this, okay, so you're going to die cut this one, color it and die cut it. All right, then while you're at the die cut machine, take this, flip your paper over here to save paper, and die cut another one. Just blank, not stamped. Okay, so you need 1 stamped, 1 not stamped. Okay, and then with another scrap piece of white, you're going to cut one of these and one of these. Okay, so that's your die cutting. We'll put this away, and also you're going to cut a piece of Daffodil Delight. Okay, so you're cutting 1 full one of these in Daffodil Delight, one that you've colored, okay, and then one that you haven't. So this is what you're going to cut with this one die. All right, then you cut this piece with this die, and this piece with this die. These are all from the coneflowers. Okay, so you need all those pieces. Let's put these back so I don't lose them. Okay, so I have one that I haven't colored because I wanted to show you how I did this. Okay, so let's bring in our color wheel and let's color that quickly. Okay, I'm not going to color the top part because I colored it exactly like I showed you earlier. So we're going to start this one with a dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to follow some of these artist lines, just swoosh on some color. And remember that you have 2 other colors to add in. So don't get too carried away with the dark. And then I am going to go back right along where these petals meet and add just a little bit of extra color, okay? Then I'm going to move to the dark lemon lolly. I'm going to start at the top of the coneflower, and again, I'm going to flick in some color. I'm not trying to fill this all in, okay? And then I'm going to go back with my light lemon lolly and blend everything together. Okay? And then when I finish this, notice how I flick away from the ends. That helps me to keep my ink inside the lines because I'm flicking away from those borders, okay? All right, so there is my flower, and because of the way it's cut, again, we're going to cut this off. And actually, on this one, you don't even need to color that, okay? There's no need to color this one. So that's all you need to do. All right. So we've got that. Oh, I don't know why I took that away. We need to color this. So we're going to take our dark pecan pie. And for this one, this particular die has pieces that will lift out. So I'm going to go like this. And then run this around the top. And then I'm going to go back in with my light peach pie. Blend in those borders. And fill that in, okay? And round that top, just like that. Okay, so this piece is now ready, but I did notice I've got a little white at the bottom here. I don't want that, so I'm going to go back and do that. Okay, now for this one, for that, now we're going to take and do this one, okay? Again, I'm going to take my Dark Daffodil Delight and just flick in a little bit of color. And then my dark lemon lolly, add a little bit more. And finish off with the light, making sure that I go the whole way so that everything blends together. Okay, and be careful with this part because you do have very delicate ends. And don't worry about the color up here. Just make sure that you get color far enough up there. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do that. Then I'm going to go back and make sure I don't have any white showing on my edges because that'll drive me crazy. The light lemon lolly is very forgiving in that aspect. Okay, so that is all of our coloring. We have one thing left to do with this, And what did I do with that silicone pad? We need that back. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to take the word thank you and we're going to stamp this in Daffodil Delight. Okay, so thank you. I'm going to stamp this in the middle of my coneflower right there. Okay, now on a piece of the Stampin' Up masking sheet, I stamp the word thank you. It doesn't matter what color you stamp it in. Okay, so I stamped it and then I hand cut it. I'm going to release this masking paper. Okay, like so. Our masking paper is pretty thick, so I'm going to take and put this on my pant leg a couple of times. Just to reduce some of the stickiness so I can get it back off easily. And remove that little cat hair there. And then I'm going to lay this down right over my sentiment. Okay? Just like that. Now, I'm going to take our large coneflower. And if you wanted to do this with a stamp positioner tool, you can. I'm not. Okay? And then I'm going to take and line this up. And remember, I have my thank you masked. So I'm just going to set this down here. And then I'm going to lift this off. Okay. And then we're going to take and lift our masking paper. And now I have a perfectly masked sentiment. Okay. Now let's go ahead and start our assembly. So this is our coneflower. This has a fold here. We're going to fold this in half. Give that a good press. And then I'm going to open this. Okay. And I've got some, whoops, sorry about that. I bumped you good. Okay. I've got some glue dots here and I've got some 1/4-inch magnets. And what I'm doing with these is I'm taking my glue dot with my take your pick tool, putting it on top of a second glue dot. Oop, that came off my finger. Get back. I need you to stay flat. Okay. Well, this one, it's going to be stubborn. Okay, let me get this off of here. Pick and stick. Okay, let go. Okay, so now I've got a double there. I take one of my magnets. You need 4 for this project, or I used 4. You could maybe get away with 2. I wanted to make sure that it sticks good. So I'm just going to slide one of these magnets off. I'm going to put it on my glue dot. This is the way I recommend to do it. It's the easiest way. Stick it on your glue dot. Okay. And 2 glue dots work better than 1. Don't ask me why. But I kept having my magnet pull apart with just 1. Okay, so we can put those away. Now I'm going to take my magnet. I'm going to put one here. Remember, I'm on the inside. Okay, So I've got a magnet here. I'm going to put a magnet here. Then I'm going to take my element that I just did with the thank you. And probably have to take off the glue booger. The glue booger. And I'm going to glue this up, making sure that I get those bottoms glued. Okay, like so. And then I'm going to add this in here, and oh man, I didn't do it right. Pooh, wrong side. Okay, hang on. I didn't do it right, you guys. I had to think opposite and I didn't. Okay. So you got to think, make sure before you put your magnets down to start that these line up. And that was my mistake. So I need this to be on this side. Come on, come on. Okay. Like that. And then I'm going to add this in here. Showed you how to avoid making that mistake now. Okay. And then I'm going to take and glue this down. Make sure that all sticks well. Okay. Then I'm going to take these other two magnets and I'm going to turn them glue dot up. And as you saw, it's going to jump right to that other magnet the way it needs to go. Oh, no, you're not. Apparently this one doesn't like the side I put the glue dot on. Darn it. All right, let's fix that. This worked for me earlier. Better to put those on first. Put your magnets on first. Oh yeah. Put your magnets on first. Double stack your glue dots. And then stick them to the magnet. That's the better way to do it. Then take this. Make sure you line this all up the way you want it before you put those glue dots down. Okay. Give that a good press. I like to use the tip. I'm going to take your pick tool. Okay. I'm going to let that sit for a second. And then we're going to take this bottom piece and glue this to the top piece. This is the one I want. Okay, so we're going to do this. We have liquid glue, so we can just slide that into place. Line it all up. Okay, now I've got that. Then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to trim this cone down just a little bit because I don't want any of this white cone sticking out. So just an easy trim. Get some glue. Lay this down how you would like it. It's not going to line up perfectly. It's not supposed to line up perfectly. So put it down how you would like. Okay, I've got that. And then finally, we're going to take these, but again, I used a lot of glue dots on this. I'll take my glue dots and stack them. This is where I got confused on stacking and sticking. Okay, because we're stacking and sticking these. Come on. Okay, you can go on here then. Right there in the middle. That's fine. Stack and stick. Then we're going to put this down here. And finally, this. Okay. And then we're going to add this. Put the wrong thing away. Where's my tweezers? Where to put my tweezers? They're not where they belong. Okay, well, I guess we'll do it without the tweezers. I laid them down somewhere and I don't see them. Okay, so then we're going to take and lay this here. Oh, what did I do with my tweezers? It makes it so much easier for me when I have my tweezers. Okay, line that all up so everything's all nice and even and give that a good press. And now you've got this cool bookmark, which doesn't, there we go. There we go, man. What did I do? Somehow got some glue up there. Don't be like me. I'm not sure how I got that. You don't want any glue up here. I know I didn't put any. Oh, it came off the, must have come off the magnets. Okay, that's okay. We'll just take our adhesive thing. And then you've got a nice bookmark that you can open and close. Okay, so I've done a couple in different colorways. And so there we have those. Okay, there's my projects for tonight. I hope you like that. And of course, what are we thinking? Brush a little bit of Wink Stella and a little bit of Wink Stella. Just for a little added shine. Okay, and there we go. I know that won't show up on the camera because it never does. If you need to get more glitter, just take and push on here until you see the glitter come down in the barrel. Mine might be pretty empty. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything come down. Give it a good shake, and then you can add some more. Okay, everybody. That's what I have for you with the Coneflower Celebrations this evening. I hope you liked those projects. Lynette, you read my mind, didn't ya? I didn't bother putting any gems on those because nobody wants gems in the pages of their books. So anyway, there you are. There are my projects for tonight. I hope you liked those. And at this moment, I plan on being back Thursday night at 7 on YouTube, but we'll see how it goes. I do have run home plus the kiddos all week. So we'll see what I get to. All right, everybody. Have a great night, and be sure to check Facebook to see if there's been a change in my plans. All right. See you later. Have a great week. Good night.